Adam. I'm stoked. We got a chance to sort of powwow before we hit record here. And I think we're going to have a good kind of cadence just based off the vibe I got from you. Um, I want to sort of kick it off by having you sort of break down the way you introduce yourself to people just at a baseline.
Yeah, I mean, what IRA Financial does and why I found this company 15 years ago is to really empower people to invest in almost anything they want. So, you know, I'll just kind of jump into like how I got here because I think
Yeah.
it's an interesting story. As a founder, is before I started IRA Financial, I was a tax lawyer in New York City for 8 years. The first 5, I kinda liked it. After that, it was just like the golden handcuffs, kinda just did it for the money, and I was just always trying to figure out what can I do? Like, how can I start a business? What do I know? And unfortunately, I didn't really have any skills other than knowing tax law. So I got lucky, okay? My 8th year, I had a client that wanted to use his IRA, his individual retirement account, to invest in his hedge fund, and I got lucky enough to be asked to do the research, and yeah, I would consider myself a pretty, sophisticated guy. I was a tax lawyer. I went to law school. I even did an extra year. I got a master's in taxation. I worked at some of the largest law firms in the world. So I'm like, I'm a pretty smart guy. I had no idea that you can use your IRA to do alts like real estate or gold or private equity, hedge funds, now crypto. So I did the research and I was blown away. And I kind of started looking at the industry, and the self-directed IRA industry around 15 years ago was just very, very, dated. It was just, kind of archaic. It was charging a lot of money, no technology, horrible service. I even tried a few IRA companies, and I quit my job and I started IRA Financial, really with the idea that, hey, when IRAs were created in 1974, the government did not distinguish between IRAs that bought real estate and IRAs that bought stocks. So why shouldn't there be a company that empowers people, educates people about all the amazing opportunities that are out there for IRA investors? So that's what I did. I started IRA Financial in the hope of educating people and helping people take more control over their retirement funds. Since not everyone wants to buy stocks, right? Not everyone understands Wall Street. Important to diversify, and kind of that's where things have gone. And fast forward 15 years, we now have 25,000 accounts, over 4.5 billion in assets, and we're making a difference.
It sounds like you're responsible with other people's money, which is always a win in business. It's an interesting thing because even in the podcasting space, there have been people who've come up to me, wanted me to get involved, and they were lawyers or in some industry where there's regulation, right? And you have to be careful with the way things work. What was regulation like for you as far as an obstacle in getting your business off the ground and being able to work with people in that capacity? Did you come across any issues with regulations?
It's actually a great question. So I think being a tax lawyer really helped me because there was regulation. For example, IRA Financial is a regulated trust company, right? So not everyone could custody IRAs. You have to either be a bank or a financial institution or a state chartered trust company. So yeah, there is some barrier to entry, and that's where I think my legal background helped me because I was able to navigate those rules. I still had to hire lawyers and spend some money, but I think it wasn't as intimidating. And on top of that, I think the best advice I ever got, my father had a friend that was this like brilliant software entrepreneur. And I kept asking him, saying, "Hey, what should I do? What kind of business should I start? I don't know what to do. I know I don't want to be a lawyer forever, but what should I do?" And he always said, "Well, if you just go into like the desk business, there's going to be 100 people that know more than you. It's going to be really hard. So try to find a business that you already have some skill, some pedigree. So when you go into that industry, you're already going to have a step up on your competition." So I think having a tax background, going into a business that has a tax oriented flavor, because IRAs are based off the tax code. You have to understand IRS rules. So that gave me an immediate advantage over my competitors, which were not tax lawyers or not tax lawyers. And I really think that that's what helped propel IRA Financial forward.
I see. As I hear you speak about taxes and law, I want to veer just slightly off into the innovation space for a second because a lot of people right now, more than ever, are hyper aware of technology and how it's impacting their work. Have you found that any of the latest technologies have enhanced your ability to serve your customers, or do you keep it old school and keep it the way that you've always known it works?
You got to change or you die. I mean, I believe in change. I love change. I love transforming. Any founder who doesn't do that's going to die. So yeah, whether obviously the internet changed everything and allowed IRA Financial to reach out and help customers much easier, more efficiently, more cost effectively, with better service because of phone apps, websites. But AI, wow, total game changer for good and bad. I mean, the bad for us is, I felt that IRA Financial always had a leg up because I've written 9 books in this area. I know this, yeah, I know this area better than anyone in the country. Not that I'm so smart, I barely can turn my Netflix on, but I know the IRA and 401k world really well. But now with AI, I mean, anyone could be an expert. Obviously, you have to know what to prompt and what to ask it, but you can get the information that is just as well suited for you as I would tell you. Obviously, AI can't open the IRA for you, but it has leveled the playing field. So it makes you have to be a stronger leader and has to force you to be even better and more efficient and embrace technology, or AI will kill you.
I love that you have this attitude because I recall I was at a co-working space back in 2014 when blockchain was the thing that was coming out, and a buddy of mine was a startup lawyer, and he was looking to step into that space, and he wasn't afraid because he was specifically with contract law, right? And so he wasn't afraid of that at all. He was actually looking to take advantage of that. So I love that that's the attitude you have because I'm a firm believer that those are the people that are going to win, and it sounds like you're not afraid of that technology, which for the entrepreneurs and CEOs that are listening, that's exciting news because that means you are on the cutting edge and you have deep knowledge, which, as both of us know, when you're a subject matter expert and you can leverage that technology, you can ask the questions that others don't think to ask to get the ideas and the plans and the strategies to move things forward. So I'm thrilled. I'm glad that you went there with me. I know it was a slight tangent, but I think it's
No,
important.
it's and honestly, if I can just double click on that, I mean, the beauty now, if you're kind of a startup founder or you're trying to find your path and your next venture or project, like play with AI won't do it for you, but it will help you kind of formulate a plan, a marketing concept, a business plan. So the barrier to entry, like when I left my law firm job in 2009, it took me a year to start IRA Financial just to kind of get off the ground, like, raise a little bit of money, get a marketing plan, a business plan, do my diligence and research. In 2025, I'd be able to start IRA Financial in a week. Okay. Like that's how incredible AI is. I would still have to raise money, but it would have had all the research and diligence and all the legwork would have been done in a day, in probably 30 minutes. And then it would just kind of the rest of the work would have to been done. But it's incredible. Like what we are able to do with AI now is unbelievable. And we're just scratching the surface. So super excited.
Yeah, and that's like where the models are right now. Remember the earlier models that were available? It was still, it actually was less efficient to use them at times, but now it's such a great aggregator of data and parsing it and segmenting it and making it relevant categorically. I mean, it's exciting times. Pushing things forward. Let's talk about this because you've managed $4 billion in assets. Did I hear that correctly?
4.4 billion.
4.4, but who's counting, you know? what what's the difference in scale between when you started your asset management in the beginning of it versus like where it is now? Is there aside from the number, what is the difference in your experience in your business?
Yeah. So we custody, so we have 4.4 billion of assets that are like that have used our platform. What's different today? I'm just going to be real with everyone listening or watching. To run and build a good business takes time. Okay, so anyone who tells you, or if you're watching or listening to this and think that in a month or a year you're going to have $1 billion business, it's not happening. Okay, it's not happening. It's hard, super hard to do. So I went from zero to 4.4 billion. It took me 15 years of hard work, sweat, tears, like not seeing my kids, till 8 at night and missing weekends with my family. Like it is hard to build a business. And I'm not sure I would do it again if I knew how hard it was. I'd probably just remain a lawyer. So I'm not going to say there's some fun days, but it's hard work. So yeah, it takes time to scale, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes. I made so many mistakes as a first time, CEO, that if I went back in time, God, I would have saved myself money and time by just being smarter. But sometimes you just got to go through it. So yeah, you're going to make mistakes. I don't have all the secret answers, but hard work, hard work, hard work, having a good plan, being able to kind of maneuver the plan. Don't always like be so rigid. Maneuver and accept change and go with it. So yeah, the one thing I've done over time, because I have more money now in my business, is I've got to work with smarter people. So the first 5 to 7 years, I was scraping by. I bootstrapped this business. I didn't go out and raise a lot of money. I tried to do it myself, and I kind of missed some opportunities because I probably didn't work with enough high quality people that would have really helped me scale faster. That's my mistake. I would say if you're listening or watching this, again, spend money on people. People are the most important thing, and that was my big mistake. I kind of thought, oh, I'm so smart. I can kind of do this myself and I'll just build a team around me. And I was wrong. I should have taken all my profit and just hired smarter, smarter, smarter people. And that would have helped me scale 3 times, 4 times faster than I did by just kind of keeping the team that was good when I started, but wasn't good enough as the company grew. And I was just too loyal and didn't realize that I just needed a better talent around me.
I mean, this is honestly one of the most fascinating subjects in over the 2,000 interviews that I've done in podcasting, just in general, since 2014 to now. In 2025 is the idea of hiring. And this is something that many probably trade notes on when they get a chance to, when they're having, some kind of business lunch or something. But for you, if we could just borrow from your experience here, bad hires, good hires, okay hires, how did you determine the differences looking back on it now? Could you categorically sort of spot it the way you couldn't when you first started?
Yeah, yeah, it's a great question. My personally, I'm a loyal person to a fault.
Yeah, that's why I love that you said that, but yet
I think, yeah, I'm loyal. Like I love my wife, and I'm super loyal to her, which is good. That's a good thing. But I was loyal to people that were really good when a company started, but as the company grew, it got to the point where your talent isn't there, right? I need a different type of person, a different type of talent. And I was scared to have that conversation with the person to say, listen, I love you, but I'm gonna have to make a really tough decision. And it ended up costing me lots of money and time because I stayed with the wrong people, and it hurt them and me. There's stories of people that I kept with me for probably 5 years too long, and some of them haven't even found another job in 2 or 3 years because they got to such a high position in my company and they didn't have the skill set for it. So their next job, they're looking for that high position. They're not qualified. No one's hiring them. So I did them a disservice, and I did myself and the business a disservice. So I use recruiting services. I'll pay for talent. That's what my mistake was. I thought I can be cheap with talent and get referrals and just kind of figure it out and keep people and train them and maneuver and move people around. But like sometimes, if you just want to get a center to play in the NBA, you need someone that's tall. You can't just get someone that's 5'5" that you like to play center in the NBA. And that's what I was trying to do. And that almost killed me. I mean, it almost destroyed my business because my competitors were actually able to catch up. I ended up getting into situations that was costly, and it took me time to get out of it.
Now, on in that same vein, let's to borrow your phrase, let's double click on that. Is it worth, like, let's say your margins are slim and you're looking like, how am I going to hire top talent or get a recruiting firm to do this? Is it worth going into a little debt to get that good person? Would you say that?
I would get rid of some people on the margins. Get that. Sometimes it's better to have a team of 5 people that are incredible than a team of 12 people that are mediocre. So what I would do is I'd look on the margins to be like, okay, I love my team, but if I had to like free up 100K or 50K, where can I do it? And then I would make some tough decisions on the margins in order to get the money I need to go hire, this person. And going in debt, yeah, I should have done it. Honestly, the money I would have had to borrow or raise is minuscule compared to the opportunities I lost because my team wasn't good enough.
So, and I love that we're going here because now let's turn it back to what it is that you do for people. A lot of entrepreneurs think they can just wing their investment, sort of approach to things. They might ask a couple of friends who may have made some winnings. How did you do this? The list could go on how they want to approach things the same way, where it's like, I'm loyal. I keep to what I think I know. I'm smart. And I love that you're saying, look, I might be smart, but I'm not that smart. I don't think anyone is that smart. I'm definitely not that smart. Right. So, the same way with people who come to you, what are some things that are immediately apparent to you when people first come to you who've never tried your kind of services and what you do? With your tax background alone, first of all, I'm sure you have interesting conversations with business owners all the time. But then you start talking about asset management and helping them invest and take that further and opening up the opportunities that they have. What are some things that are readily apparent for people who are coming to you for the first time who've never done this kind of work before with anyone?
Yeah, so I'm actually lucky because what IRA Financial, we actually don't per se manage people's money. We unlock people's money. So let's say you came to me and said, "Hey, I have 200 grand of Fidelity, and I want to invest in my friend's business, but Fidelity is not going to let me take 50K in my IRA to invest in my friend's business. So I'm going to go to IRA Financial, and they find us online, and they go open an account, using an app or website, whatever is convenient, and then they come to us, and we unlock their money tax free so that they can take their money and invest in alternative assets. So we don't really compete with Fidelity because we do different stuff. But what people end up coming to us with is, hey, holy cow, I can't believe you can do this. Why did my financial advisor not tell me that I can invest in alts? I had no idea. And I say, well, you're not alone because I had no idea when I started this company. And my main mission was to educate people to say, hey, if Congress did not want us to invest in alternatives with our IRA or 401k, they would have stopped it, right? Just like a 529 plan, which is a college educational savings plan. You're only allowed to do traditional equity investments. For whatever reason, that's what they wanted you to do with those funds. They didn't do that with an IRA or 401k. Congress understood the value of diversification. The biggest obstacle, and just to get for your listeners, the biggest from a context standpoint, there's $33 trillion in retirement money out there, right? There's around $17 trillion in IRA money, and then the rest in 401k and other types of pension plans. So most Americans are smart that their biggest source of savings is in a tax advantage retirement account, which is great. The problem is we're not educated in terms of the power of it through compounding returns and then the ability to make different investments. So the people that come to us that I get the opportunity to talk to, it's usually like, oh my God, I can't believe you can do this. I wish I knew about it before. Help me. And our biggest challenge is making the process not intimidating and easy. And unfortunately, we still have to work with legacy institutions like Fidelity and Vanguard and Schwab because the money has to come from there. So they're very, very archaic in terms of some of them still want a fax to send them to request the money or a real
Wow.
signature. Like you'd be blown away how these institutions. So that's why like companies like Robinhood have come in and blown these guys away because they're like, oh, it's easy to buy stocks. It's fun. It's simple. It's not scary. And that's what IRA Financial is trying to do is make this process less intimidating, easy, so Americans could feel good and confident about investing.
Now, is the portfolio of people that you're working with predominantly people who are corporate and retired and they have that, or is it entrepreneurial, do you find?
I find it entrepreneurial. I think our average client invests around 100,000 plus. It's generally people that are working or have worked. It's anywhere from 45 to 65, I think is our core age group. And it's people that want to diversify. And it could be as, hey, I want to invest in my friend's business, or I want to buy the house next door, I want to buy gold, I want to buy Bitcoin, want to do a hard money loan, I want to buy an Airbnb. I mean, there's so much you can do with your retirement account. So we unlock it. We're agnostic to the investment. We're neutral. We don't make money on the client's investing. We just make money record keeping and administering the account. That's it.
So now let's stretch this out a little bit to entrepreneurs who might be listening who don't have a single retirement plan or any retirement efforts even made yet. Just based on your experience and the things you know to be true about how people should look at these things, and if they haven't done it yet, what is your most educated and wisdom-filled advice for those who are kind of just, winging it? It's like, I'm going to have this hard conversation with you. These are the things you need to know. What would that be if you could just share that with us?
Yeah, the number one thing is understanding the concept of compounding returns, which is basically the rule of 72. Your money will double every 8 years, assuming a 9% rate of return, right? So you take the simple concept, you make $100, okay, profit. If you pay 20% tax, you're left with $80. If you did that same investment in an IRA or 401k or Roth, you make $100 of profit, you're left with $100. You don't pay tax. So you do that over years and years and years, you're going to be able to generate way more money in a tax advantage account. So I would say if you have no retirement account today, it's fine. Open a Roth IRA. Okay. A Roth IRA is a tax advantage account. You don't get a tax deduction for what you put in. And the max is 7,000 if you're under 50, 8,000 if you're over 50. But once you're 59 and a half, and the Roth has been open at least 5 years, whatever you pull out is tax free, right? So if you bought Bitcoin at 3,000 and now it's 120,000, you can pull it out tax free. So I would open a Roth IRA. If you're self employed and have no employees in your startup, you can open up a solo 401k, which allows you to put away 70,000 if you're under 50, 77,500 if you're over 50, and you can borrow up to 50,000 against it. You can do alternative investments. You can maximize your Roth. And on top of that, there's actually strategies where if you've been able to save, let's say you worked for Apple or Nike or Tesla, and you have a 401k, there are certain strategy called the ROBS, Rollover Business Startup, and I wrote a book on it, that you can actually use your money to start up your business without triggering what's called a prohibitive transaction. So there's a lot of ways, if you speak to the right tax expert, where you can actually use retirement money to fund your startup.
That's wild. And thank you for sharing all of those gems. The truth is, sometimes it's just more important to hear it from someone who knows their business like nobody's business. And like you said, you went deep on these key areas, and it made all the difference. Uh, whether or not you're challenged by Netflix is another thing, as you said earlier. Uh, um, Now let's get into some industry trends. What are some things that you're seeing? Because you've mentioned, and we sort of hovered over this conversation with crypto and alt. It's kind of come around in our conversation so far, and I want to give you more of a chance to elaborate on this because it sounds like it's a missed opportunity by a lot of people right now, according to the way you were bringing it up. Is this accurate?
100%. So 15 years ago, I remember I left my job as a lawyer and I told some of my friends that I worked with, I'm like, I'm starting this company and I'm going to let people use their IRAs to buy alternative assets like real estate. And they're like, are you crazy? No one is going to do that. Are you nuts? Who's going to put an alternative asset in an IRA? You're just going to buy stocks. You're crazy at it. I'm like, what are you doing? And now it's the opposite, right? Like my kids, when they talk about investing, it's cryptos or it's alternative startups. It's stocks too, but they understand that you need to be broader and more diversified. So yes, there's incredible opportunities in diversification, whether it's gold, whether it's Bitcoin. I mean, my two best investments that I made in my life, my financial advisor, who's a dear friend, told me I was stupid, I shouldn't do it. And it was Bitcoin and investing in a friend's business that like blew up and is now like a unicorn. Um, Two things that I put in 50K in Bitcoin in 2016 and this 50K in 2017. And I at least the Bitcoin is now up 20K, 20x, and that investment's up like 40x. And it's all because I diversified and I was just lucky. But if I just stayed in stocks, I would have done fine, but I would have missed out on these opportunities. So yeah, I think people are a lot smarter now. They're less intimidated by alternative assets like cryptos. Robinhood helped that. It just made it easier to kind of see how it works and try it. And IRA Financial, we have a great platform where you can trade on Bitstamp, which is acquired by Robinhood, and your IRA. You can actually own the Bitcoin, buy gold, you do real estate, you can do almost anything you want and have total control.
Can you make the case? Can you make the case for Bitcoin and the blockchain and the Ethereum. Because in 2014, or around the first time, 2013, really, when I started to hear about it and still didn't believe it. And to this day, I have zero in that. Like the amount of hurt that I feel because one of my buddies, he went to the London School of Economics and he told me this is ridiculous. Just like you said, your financial advisor, this is ridiculous. Why, the amount of times and opportunities someone encouraged me, just throw $200, buy $10 of it. And I just didn't. I know how much I missed out on it. Can you make the case for it once and for all for people who still, a lot like me? I mean, I should be doing $10 literally just within after our call here. Can you just make the case, just point and simple?
So yeah, actually wrote a book. I was the first one to write a book, How to Use Retirement Funds to Buy Cryptos in 2017. The case is things are going digital. Everything's being tokenized. And when I started buying Bitcoin and Ethereum in 2016, I didn't really understand where it could go. And in fact, I thought the use case, I thought we'd be a lot more advanced today than where we are, considering where I thought we would be back in 2016. So I just kind of saw everything as borderless, no more currencies. It's just going to be kind of one type of Bitcoin currency, which unfortunately a lot of countries don't want to happen. So I just thought it's going to make things easier and cheaper to transact, and I think that's the case. So basically what I'm going to say is I looked at the risks and rewards. So I said, okay, this technology is super cool, blockchain's interesting. I don't know where it's going to be, but we're in like the first half an inning in the baseball game, and I'm just going to make an educated best bet that in my IRA I can't use the money anyways for another 20 years. And if I lose it, I doubt it would go to zero. So maybe it goes down 50, 60%. Okay. But I'm going to get exposure to this emerging asset class. I understand it, but I don't really know where it's going to go. But I bet that the reward would outweigh the risks. It wasn't like sports gambling. There was some technology to it. And it just made a lot of sense to me, but I didn't understand where it could go. So I said, I'm just going to buy it and hold it for 10 or 20 years. And if I lose half my money, whatever. And it worked out. So that's how I kind of look at life. I look at rewards and risks. Like, why do I buy stocks? Because the reward to me outweighs the risks. And that's how I kind of make business decisions. So I just made that decision with Bitcoin. And then my friend's startup was like, you're the smartest guy I know. You've been successful before. I trust you. I'm willing to take the risk. And I just think the reward's going to be far greater. So that's what I did. Um, it, will Bitcoin rule the world in 50 years? I don't know, but I think the technology is here to stay. And when you look at the limited amount of it and the fact that there's exciting technology opportunities with it, I'm willing to make the bet.
Yeah, and I always
And
had a good feeling about the currency aspect of things. The currency was fine. It was things like the non-fungible token and the cultural, like, profile pictures and those kinds of things that I knew for a fact, and
yeah,
sure enough,
I didn't buy
wasn't
that.
gonna pay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
But
don't buy even the meme coins. I'm not buying that crap. I'm buying coins that have technology behind it. And I think if you're going to put $1 into any cryptos, like without giving investment advice, I think you should do Bitcoin. It's definitely the most popular. It's the oldest. I like the fact that no one knows who created it. It's totally
yeah,
decentralized. Blockchain works. It is slow in terms of like it's not going to be used to go to, Starbucks to buy a coffee because the costs are too hot, expensive to actually process the transaction. But I do believe countries, and that's starting to happen, are going to use Bitcoin instead of gold as a reserve currency, and that's my big belief in the future that you're going to have major companies like America. Trump announced he was going to do that, and I think you're going to see European countries and Middle Eastern countries doing the same.
I was just about to bring that up. I mean, I was under the impression we already did, as a country, purchase a lot of Bitcoin. I know El Salvador
That's true.
runs on Dunkin' Donuts, as they say, and I think Miami is also using Bitcoin in
They have a
particular.
coin. Yeah, they got a coin. But listen, there are ways to use it. But I think if countries start acquiring it as a reserve currency,
Right.
then the price is going to stay high.
I love it, and thank you again for going there with me on these tangents here. I want to roll out the red carpet for you as we begin to close things out because I want to be respectful of time here. What do you want the listener to know, having heard of you, heard from you directly? Where do you want them to connect with you, and is there a call to action?
Yeah, you can reach out to me, at IRA Financial. There's a contact form it'll get to me. The call to action, no, I think it's really about education and on two sides. Like first of all, I'll talk to if there is a startup, someone who's starting a business now. And my advice to you would be don't think you're going to get rich tomorrow. 10 years of hard work. Okay. And there's no guarantee. So make sure you're really, really committed. Obviously, with AI, you're going to be able to do your research a lot quicker than I was. Pay for good people. Surround yourself with smarter people than you. Okay. Don't be too loyal. Loyal to your family. Don't be loyal to people in your business. Get the best people to help you. And I think ultimately, if you can figure out the right niche, some luck, you're going to be super successful. And I'm blessed to find my niche. Like I love helping people, educating people, and empowering people to invest in assets they know and trust. I love the fact that I don't have to like sell them products, that I can root for them. Like I'm their partner. We charge flat fees, so hopefully they make millions and millions of dollars, and we still charge the same flat fee for the account, unlike advisors. So we just unlock people's money and let them do what they want with it. And I've been blessed to have worked with some amazing people that have made tens of millions of dollars in a Roth IRA just by helping them do that. So um, that would be my call to action. Just like work your butt off. It's not easy. Get the smartest people you can to work with you. Don't be super loyal to everyone, and find something you love.
I love it, man. You're such a cool vibe. I really appreciate the way that you approach life. I think that everyone's philosophy to work in life really does impact the world around them a lot more than we give it credit. So thank you for bringing that energy here and having it recorded so we could distribute it and share it with the world. Uh, I hope this isn't the last time you and I chat. I
Oh
want to
no.
stay connected for sure, especially if there's anybody that I know that I could be sending your way because you unlocking people's money, that's like everyone that I know, I think, right?
Especially startup founders. I mean, if you have a retirement account out there, an IRA or a former employer 401k, you probably can use it to fund your startup without paying tax or penalty on the money.
That's the key right there. Well, Adam, man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you for stopping.
Thank you.